Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here to join us. Hopefully, you guys can see me okay. So today, I was wondering where you guys are joining us from. So if you want to drop down in the comments where you are located, that would be awesome. We have a huge or a very broad audience, so we'd love to see where you're tuning in from. And so today we are covering the topic of creating Google Forms to collect feedback on your products, more specifically digital products, because here at Spreadsheetables, we're all about Google Sheets. So we are looking at that, at collecting feedback from people. You can take this training today and apply it to many different things. Somebody asked today or yesterday if you can use it to collect testimonials. So absolutely, this training applies to, you can take this methodology and apply it to all sorts of different surveys and feedback that you want to use Google Forms for. So next up, oh yes, so if you haven't met us before, I have a little like script here because we do these every Monday, but I'm usually all over the place, so I'm using my script today. If you haven't met us, we have Andrea that just joined us and myself. We own Spreadsheetables. My name is Melinda, and we help digital product sellers, B2B coaches, and course creators to monetize and scale their business with Google. So that's what we're all about here. Every Monday, most Mondays, we do a fun little live training with you guys here free in the group. But we also have a couple tiered memberships. The VIP tier has over 400 digital products that you can use for yourself in your own business, or you can rebrand and sell. So that's what we do here. Last week, I don't know if you guys caught last week, it was a good one. We had a lot of requests for it. We covered Google Sheet tips. So we did smart chips, drop downs, table creation, which is kind of a new feature where you can have pre-built tables just kind of automatically populated in Google Sheets. So that's a really good one if you want to go check out last week's live. You can find it in the Passive Income with Google Sheets Facebook group or our YouTube channel. So go and check that out. Today's free tip sheet, you can grab it at spreadsheetables.com/07084. So whenever we have these lives, we try and give you guys a tip sheet that just has some info for you that you can take away. So next up, I would love to know if any of you have used Google Forms before. If you want to drop in the comments below and let us know if you've used them before and what you've used it before. Have you linked it to Google Sheets? Because that is why we're bringing this to you guys. We're Spreadsheetables. We're all about Google Sheets, but you can connect your form to a sheet to consolidate all the information. So that's why we're covering it today. I think I'll first show you guys our feedback form. We had done it a long time ago. I think it seems to work, Andrea, right? You get some feedback from, we have it in our Start Here template that goes out to people when they buy from our Etsy shop. And I will show you, but if you want to comment, do you get much feedback in there?
Yeah, we do actually. And I was surprised because at the beginning nobody was really clicking on it. I was like, this is not really helpful. But then all of a sudden, I don't know why. I don't know if we changed something, but they started clicking and send their feedback, which is really helpful because maybe it's some new feature that they wanted on the template that it didn't have, right? Or maybe some other idea, or maybe something that was broken, that they didn't want to contact us directly. But let me see if I can pull our feedback form. I mean, I'm not know because there's personal information in there, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
really helpful.
yeah, cool. While
And
you, do you have it up? Sorry, I can't see when I have my shared screen.
no, I don't.
Okay, so while you're pulling that up, I'll just show them the Start Here template. We've covered this in a live too, more recently. Was it the week before that? So you can go and check this out. This is something that you would provide with your Google Sheet, whether you're selling it, whether you're giving it away as a freebie or giving it to, a customer or somebody else. This sheet has instructions and, further, you can further pitch any programs you have, but also we have feedback in here. So if I scroll down, this is our feedback section. So it says, got a minute? We value your opinion. Please take a moment to leave feedback on your experience with our product. It won't take more than a few seconds, promise. That's I love that Andrea has put that in there because it tells people that it's a really quick survey. And when I go in, and I'll show you guys, it is genuinely a quick survey. You don't want to tell people it's a quick survey and it's not. So you don't want to mislead them. But if we click on that, it's going to open this feedback form here. Did you want to switch over to what you have for feedback?
Yeah, I'll show you real quick. I'm trying to hide the personal information here. All right. I think it should be good. Let me see. Share. Okay. So this is one of the responses that we have. So we have a few questions in there. And just like rating from 1 to 5, 1 being, poor, and then 5 being like not great, and then great. So here we have overall satisfaction rating, product quality, ease of use, value for money, would you recommend to friends and family? So all of those 5 questions are rating, from 1 to 5. And then here we have some information from them, and like just it's an open-ended text box that we have in there, just like suggestions for improvements. And then somebody say, and then what product they are rating, because we have this is like our general contact form, so it's literally like in all of our templates. So here they have, what templates they're using. So for this one, for example, there's no link for the video in the start here page. But I just saw this one. I was like, uh-oh. And then here is like, okay, this is I don't see a sheet to enter individual spending. So there's just like improvement. When you create spreadsheets, you want to make sure that you are always collecting feedback, because we go over this a lot of times. Like when sometimes something works for my brain that doesn't work for your brain, right? So it's, you also want to be collecting the feedback, and then you're going to evaluate, you're going to redo your template. You always want to be making it better and making it more user friendly, right? Maybe my brain sometimes is very weird. So I create some stuff that works for my brain and people are like, what? So this is just very helpful for that. And you can add more questions, but I would not, because people don't really want to, spend all this time like rating a product, or, if they have like 100 questions to answer. I'm the type of person to be like, oh, heck no, I'm out. Like this is not that important for me. It is for the business owner, but not for me. So make it quick, make it easy for them to, just submit their questions. And we do, this is just for the templates that we sell for like personal use, but then we also have one, we use the same kind of thing, like it's a feedback for the people that cancel our membership, because we want to know why they canceled, right? We want to always make sure that we're always improving the membership and make sure that there's nothing maybe too complicated for them, or maybe whatever it is the reason. So I'm not going to show that one because that one has a lot of information, but yeah. But we were able, Mel and I, we were able to take that feedback actually just recently, and then reevaluate our whole path, right? Our whole VIP membership. So we noticed a pattern of the people that were leaving, right? So then we're going to adjust the membership in the future month, to make sure that we are accounting for, for that specific issue, and then making the membership better for the new people coming in and the people that we already do have in there. So
Mhm. It was actually a big relief too, because when you have somebody leave, you kind of like, and you like try not to take it
Yes,
personally
you
and that
took
kind
it
of stuff.
personally.
But the feedback was incredible. Like they loved the membership, they loved the products.
Yeah.
So it was some other things that we needed to work on, which was awesome. Like just kind of like our targeting and that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yes.
it
Yeah,
was.
it ended up being more of like a target audience issue than the membership, if that makes sense for you
Yeah,
guys watching.
we would have never known that if we hadn't
Yes.
collected that feedback.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's awesome. I want to point out a few things that, so Andrea had set up this feedback form, and some things that she did really well was making sure she has qualitative and quantitative collection. So she's got those numbers where people rate things, which you can like more quantify. And then she also makes sure she gives space for people to comment openly and say, so you don't want to just collect like the number feedback. You want to have a comment box that they can kind of put in any thoughts that they have, which is really important. And also when you're doing like the scaled feedback, so she has 1 to 5, you want to make sure if you have 1 to 5 on one question, all of your other questions are 1 to 5. You're not like changing the scale and things. You want to keep it all consistent so that you don't confuse anybody.
And you always want to label too, like 1 being poor and whatever your max number is being the best, the
Yeah.
least and the best. Because some people, it's funny, uh didn't happen to me, but I've known like Etsy shop owners saying that, oh, I got a 1-star review, but then they're like, oh, this product is amazing, thank you so much. So in the the rater had 1 was the greatest star and 5 was the worst for whatever reason. But again, different brains, different ways to process information. So always make sure you label, 1 being the least or 5 being the greatest, things like that.
Yeah, as you say that, that's a great point to maybe follow that scale, because especially if you're doing 1 to 5, because people are used to like online with Google ratings and that kind of thing. It's always like a 1 to 5 star rating. So if you kind of
Mhm.
follow that and don't flip it, like don't do,
Yeah.
yeah, right? Because you're
Right.
confusing people because they're used to a certain way, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Another great thing Andrea mentioned was keeping it short. So you want to make it long enough that you collect what you need, but keep it short so that people are willing to actually fill it out. And I had a quick look, and research shows that people are willing to fill out 7 to 10 questions, which I actually still found a lot. But
Yeah.
just to give you a range, most people, like I think like 90% of people would fill out that many questions. Which I don't know. Let me switch over to ours and see how many we have. Oh, so we have like you got to fill out your name, your email. So that's the other thing is you have questions, but you're also collecting like their name and email and things like that.
Yeah.
So if we look at just our questions, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the suggestions. So 6. So we're within that 7 to 10 recommended. And it said at a time. So I don't know if you're getting feedback for something really in depth. If you're reaching 7 questions, you can actually create like, I can't remember what they call it in forms, but like a category where instead of submit, it's going to like go to the next page and you can have more questions. So it was saying people will tolerate 7 to 10 questions like at a time. So you would split up your pages like that. You would have 7 to 10, and then they flip the page and go to the next one. I would not do that for a simple product like we have
Yeah.
today. Um, but maybe you're, I don't know, doing some in-depth market research or something, just to let you know what people will handle for questions. And I think the time frame is like a 10 to 15 minute that people will tolerate. But again, Andrea put that it'll take you seconds. And so I would stick with that, like keeping it really short for people.
Yeah. I can show real quick at the exit form feedback exit form.
Yeah.
Exit form. I don't know. Oh, give me 1 second. Because I was counting the questions. And now this one is one that I did after. So that first feedback, I have to go back and fix like You see how you can enter like some information in here? I don't think I have on the other one, but you should have like something related to the form, something telling what the form is about, and then you want to make sure that in the end, you thank them for sharing the feedback and things like that. Now, this is our exit form for the membership. So every time, and we have this on automation. So every time somebody cancels out, gets out of the membership, they will receive this email automatically, um, and then they will, they'll let us know why they left. Um, and then here we have, what is your name? What email did you log into at the spreadsheet hub? What tier were you on? So I want to know what plan were they on? Because then the next question is, why did you decide to cancel the membership? And here, financial reasons, not enough use for an alternative, lack of features, and other things. Sorry, my dog was crying. Um, and then here again, you want to make sure that one question is like kind of linked to another. So if they were, on the VIP, which is $47 a month, and then they click financial reasons, then you want to make sure, you make a connections, right? So if everybody leaving your membership is leaving due to financial reasons, is because they were, on the higher plan and they couldn't afford it or whatever. Is it why? Like, did they not? Because the whole point of our membership is to help them, monetize their skills or monetize the Google Sheets and things like that. So why were they not able to, use the membership enough to a point where they would be making at least $47 a month so they could keep the membership, if that makes sense, right? um and then here, we want to make sure how easy it was to use our resources, and this is very important for us because again, we tend to do things one way, and then, maybe it doesn't work for some people, or maybe, our membership is more for, people that already have a business, or people that already have a knowledge in Google Sheets, or somewhat, right? So understand somewhat. Not talking formulas, but I'm talking about like understanding the whole logic of the whole thing. So maybe, they left because they found it somewhat difficult, right? And that's okay. So these are not our target audience. um and again, these all of these questions just help us in our mental health to be like, no, yeah, you suck, that's why I left. Like, we did not get one single comment saying that, so that's great. That's good news. And then here we have, what did you like the most, and how could we improve? And then this one is really important. It's, would you consider rejoining in the future if you addressed your concerns? So was it pricing? Maybe in the future we could make, a promotion or a sale or something like that to give them opportunity to rejoin, and maybe they are in a different stage in their business that they can afford, or, $47 or something like that. And then any other feedback or suggestions? Again, I made it really short. Mostly of these are just like check boxes instead of the rating. This one, I needed some more specific information, but I also didn't want to, open ended to have them think about, right? This is like a quick and easy check. Oh, yeah, no, okay, I left because of financial reasons, or I left because I didn't use it enough. And then, of course, I still have the open ended one if they want to enter something else. And that's it. And then, thank you for sharing your feedback. We always want to thank them. And yeah, so this one was, it was, again, like I said, it was like a turn point for us in our membership and how we're going to be taking the, our VIP membership forward. And we do considered all of the responses that we got, anyways, to make it better. Sorry, that was long-winded, but
No, that's perfect. I think that's helpful for people to see the use cases for how people are using it. And I love that that one is more detailed, like more specific. Like I find we get a lot of information from that because you've
Yeah.
laid it out well. That one's still, even though it doesn't have the numbers, it's still measurable in the fact that you have checkboxes with them ranking specific things, whether it was like financial reasons or time or whatever.
Mhm.
And then in a Google sheet, which is why it's important to link the two, you can start to like sum up how many people are in VIP that said, you know, they left because of time reasons or like time commitment reasons. So that's really important. Let's see, what else? Really quickly, the document, if you guys want to grab it, just in here, just so you know what's in here, we have some ideas for using forms. So like satisfaction surveys, market research, I see people using that. For coaches, you could be using it for client intake forms. Or even like onboarding. I don't even think I have that on here. Onboarding new employees or freelancers. What else? And then just some like random questions, like ideas for questions to ask. You don't necessarily need to ask all of these because it would be really long, but just to give you some inspiration there. And then tips for writing your form. I think we went over a lot of this, making sure you ask some open-ended questions, but then also having questions that are measurable. Try to avoid being like biased or like leading with your questions. That can be difficult sometimes, but try not to sway them with the wording of your question. If you're having trouble with that, you can always get your questions and then plunk it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to, you know, refine them to make sure that they are unbiased. What else? Group similar questions together, like Andrea was saying. Some of the questions are kind of related, so you want to make sure those are together. Use follow-up questions, all that kind of good stuff. And then, yeah, we talked about how long the survey should be. This is the research here. It's just from HubSpot that mentioned how many questions people will tolerate. So you can check that out there. If you are wanting to do a survey, hopefully you guys have all used ChatGPT by now, but it's as simple as going into ChatGPT and saying, I sell products that are Google Sheet templates, and I am looking to gather feedback on my digital products. Can you please give me 5 questions for my feedback form? You don't have to limit to 5. You could just ask it for a bunch of questions and see what it comes up with, and then pick the ones that you like. I just thought I'd give it 5 to see if maybe it'll prioritize which ones make the most sense. So how easy was it to understand and use the Google Sheet template you purchased? Very easy, somewhat easy, neutral, somewhat difficult, very difficult. So this is kind of like how Andrea had it, like instead of doing 1 to 5, you could have words related to the ranking, which can be helpful for people too, because sometimes they don't know what a 2 means or a 4 means, where this is giving them like a verbal cue on what those mean. Which features did you find most useful? So these ones are a lot of, would be a lot of written answers. Were there any specific challenges or issues you encountered? How did the Google Sheet template help you achieve your goals or improve your workflow? That's interesting because that kind of helps you with your market research to make sure that you are, you know, vocalizing all those benefits of your Google Sheets to people. You might realize people are using it in a bit of a different way or for a different reason. What additional features or improvements would you like to see in future templates? And then you could ask it to give me questions that have a scale ranking instead of open-ended questions. Let's see what it does.
This one you already added the.
Sorry?
No, I say that one already added the, 1 is like very unlikely, 5 is very likely. Instead of, labeling in the question like I did the other one. I like that better. It's more direct, I guess.
Yeah.
Like there's no margin for errors on that one.
True. And let me think. I think doing the scale is probably easier to set up. Not that this one's hard. You just have to like handwrite these in. But I think let's start creating a form so we can see. Yeah, so that did it for us. And then we would add like an open-ended question at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go in and create a form because then it will start making sense for some of this stuff. Okay, so up here, obviously, you're going to put in your title. This is that form description that Andrea mentioned. So
You can also ask ChatGPT for that.
yes, a little bit about your form. And it's nice to talk about, like introduce them to this form, but talk about it as a way that benefits the user instead of like talking about yourself and giving me feedback. Kind of like mention, this is to improve products for you going forward and that kind of thing. That wording is really nice for people. You can add it's been a while since I've been in here, but you can click add image, and it'll put an image. I don't even think I have anything. Let's just choose this. Oh, it put it up there. There is a way to put an image up at the top.
I think it's in the settings.
Yes,
Or
it's
the
been a
theme.
while since I've the customized theme, maybe. Yeah, here it is here, header. Okay. We have a training on this in VIP, but I think it's been a while since I've done that. Okay, so it's a very like narrow image that you can fit at the top. If you want to like create something in Canva, you can screenshot this and figure out the dimensions and then go into Canva and create an artboard that size. I'm going to delete this guy here. So these sections, so you can add a question here. This is kind of like your little menu bar here. Add title and description, add an image to it, add video, and add sections. So when I click this, see how I've done this and now it's added section 2. This is where at that bottom of the form, I showed you where there's a submit button, but if you want a second page, you would add a section. And then at the bottom, it's going to say continue to next section or continue. And that's how you set that up. I don't usually use that.
I don't like those either. And I don't know if Google Forms show that, like you're almost complete, like completion bar. But especially the blind ones, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be sit here filling this out like blindly forever. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
I hate those questionnaires online, like on a web page. If you start them, I don't do a lot of questionnaires, but when you go to start them and you get to the end of the page and then find out there's like 5 pages after, and then you bail and you've just like wasted your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we have, so if I click here, this is where it's going to add a question for me. So there's a question here and a question here. And when I click them, they open up for me to start editing. And this Dropbox here is important because this is how you can change like the structure of the question. So for example, I think Andrea had question boxes or check boxes along the side. So you can
the check boxes let you select like multiple options if needed.
Yeah. And then there's multiple choice.
That one only lets you select one.
Does it? I
Yeah.
thought that was a setting.
The round one is one option. The check boxes is multiple options.
Multiple?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. A linear scale, so 1 to 5. So this is where you could have, hard, somewhat hard. Oops, no, you're going to do hard. Oh, this is that scale. We haven't used this one. Hard to easy. So say we're asking like how, what is your, this is a terrible way of wording this. What is your experience with ease of use for the templates? Let me go and preview this so we can look at it. So this one, remember I was saying it's nice to have the rankings like labeled so they know. If you use this scale, it's going to at least say, one side is hard and the other side is easy. So they can just select, you can only select one of them. So that's another good way of doing that. Multiple choice grid. That one shows you a lot of different options. I rarely use that. And a checkbox grid. I don't really use that one too much either. And then they have short answer and paragraph. Now, the difference between these two is if you genuinely want them to write more, the paragraph, you need to go with the paragraph. The short is a pain in the butt. Some people put short, but really it's a long answer, and it's difficult to see the text as a user because you'll write and it only shows you this section. So you can keep writing, but then you can't see the rest of your text. So make sure you select paragraph if it's like a longer answer.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know, hopefully I can find it here, that there is a way to restrict this. So a lot of people use Google Forms for running bundles, and they ask users to, submit an application. And then once they're approved, then you submit your material for the bundle. And often with a bundle, they're going to have like an image and like a little intro or description about yourself or a bio, a description of the product. And they often have limited character counts for that. And I often find people will, mention the character count, like keep it to 50 characters, but then they don't limit the answer. And so it's fine. People can take that and, put it into a word count and figure out how many characters are there, but not everyone's going to do that. And you're going to end up with submissions that have over 50 characters, and it kind of messes things up. So a lot of people don't know that there is a response validation down here. So if I click that, it's going to give me these options. So I want to restrict the length and then have a maximum character count and then put the number in here so that they can't do more than 50. You can have a custom error text as well, like text is too long. We can actually have a look and see what this looks like. Just let me type something out. There we go. So I've gone over the 50 character count, and then it has a warning for me here. Text is too long. I don't see anybody using that. You will save somebody's day if you pass on that tip. What else? There is, I can't remember what the data validation was for these other ones. Oh, they don't have it. So maybe it's only for the length. Oh, there's also, so with the short answer, I'm going to go to data or response validation. For the short answer, it has some other options. So you can restrict it to a number. You can do the text. You can restrict the length. And I don't even know what regular expression is. But number, if you select that, you can restrict it to, say greater than, less than, equal to. I thought there was a way to, oh, here we go. Text, you can restrict text. So if you want URLs, you can go in here and restrict it to an email address, a URL. I haven't used doesn't contain, but there you go. There's all sorts of different ways of limiting things here. I thought there was one for date, but I guess not. What else?
I think the dates, they have a specific one down there for date.
Where do they have that one?
When you click on the format or the type of question, like, yeah, see the date down
Oh,
there?
yeah, here it is. Date and time. Perfect. Thanks.
Mhm.
So there we go. You can enter it there and a specific time. I think that's for people wanting to do like bookings, but maybe they don't want to pay for some sort of platform. They would do it this way. Obviously, you don't want to offer that to too many people all at once, but if it's like kind of one-offs here and there, that works. Or maybe it's like interview times or that kind of thing. What else was I going to show you? Oh, the file upload. This one's handy as well. Maybe not for your product feedback, but for bundles and what else? We were thinking about doing a VIP day, details to come later. But if we do that and we have people submit different products and things, we would use this for them to drop, maybe like if it was like a picture of themselves or a mock-up of a product or that kind of thing. So that's the basic layout of this part, but there's lots to explore in the settings. Why am I? Oh, maybe it's here. Custom theme? No. Maybe it's over here. Oh, settings is up here. Sorry. Can you tell it's been like a little while? So up here you have your questions, your responses, and then settings. Responses, this one, so the responses would populate into here. I don't know if I have, no, I won't open another one. I don't know if there's like personal information in some other one to show you the back end, but it'll show you like graphs and things of the responses back here. But once you have quite a few responses, it can be kind of overwhelming to go through the information. So this is where you're going to link it to your sheet. First, you're going to want to make sure you're accepting responses. So this is toggled on. And then, oh yeah, there's this. You can get email notifications for new responses. We can check that. So see how there's this checkbox here. Select destination for responses. That's going to go into the sheet. So that's exactly what I was going to do here.
We do have a question from Sky. She asks if it does it automatically fill out a spreadsheet with the form content. It doesn't automatically. You have to do what Mel is going to show now.
Yeah. So click this link to sheets button. You can create a new spreadsheet or you can select an existing spreadsheet. I'm just gonna, we tend to keep all ours in a new one. You can always, do a second tab and do some further data analysis with it or link it to other sheets. I'm just gonna call this one test responses. It always automatically puts like responses at the end. I think we keep this just so we can differentiate it from, other documents that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna click create.
It's easy to find if you're trying to look for that in your drive.
Yeah, so it automatically opens up the spreadsheet for you. We didn't put many questions in. It's only got the one so far, but it would populate in here. So with your timestamp and then the people's answers. One thing I didn't show you was some of the questions we would ask for their name or if we want to add their email address and stuff. Sometimes if you keep it anonymous, you might get more feedback versus doing it the other way. What else? Yeah, so that's how you link it. The settings. Okay, there's lots to explore in the settings. You can make quizzes in here, so you would toggle this on. I'm not going to do that today because that's like, there's a whole bunch of stuff with that.
Whole other animal.
Yeah. Manage how your responses are collected and protected. So this setting right now, when we looked at this, is just collecting the timestamp and nothing else. We could have added like I said, blocks to collect their name. Their email address can be collected through this method. So right now we have it toggled as do not collect. We could also change it to responder input or verified. Now, the difference between these two is verified is Google making sure it's a valid email address. They can't proceed with submitting a form without selecting that, yes, they're going to submit their email address with this. Responder input is just they're manually entering it. It's not checked if it's a valid email address. Now, the downside of the verified is if you're sending out feedback to people that don't use the Google platforms, don't have a Gmail address, they can't submit. So I've experienced that. I don't know what to do with it myself, like in another situation, because I really want to use the Google Forms and I want to make sure it's verified because I don't want, in this case, it's not feedback, it's like submitting orders. And I don't want I don't know if bots would get in there or if the link got out there and people were like spamming it. I don't know why people would, but if it got out there and there was, bogus orders being entered, that would be pretty devastating. So I go with verified for that situation. Responder input is going to allow you to be more open to email addresses from any provider. But again, it's not verified. When you're using certain features, you have to have verified. Like this example here, limit one response. When you toggle that on, it says respondents will be required to sign into Google, which means I think this will have to be verified, if I'm not mistaken. Restrict users. Yeah, so you can restrict users here for your organization. Allow response editing. This one too, so you can allow responses to be changed after being submitted. I think this might require you to be verified as well. Send responders a copy. Oh, this one is the one. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Send responders a copy of their response. So you can select off when requested or always. This one too is going to require you to be verified. Yeah, see, if I change this to do not collect, this is automatically going to switch off. Which is interesting. This one, it's saying you need to be signed into Google. I don't know if that means the verified email. Anyways, but I do know this one for sure. This, if they want a copy sent to them. So there's lots of settings to play in here. Presentation. So you can show a progress bar. Andrea had mentioned this. I think it only shows the progress bar. Let's go over here. Oh, it does show it for one page, but I think it'll say this one page is completed. I think you would only use that setting if you have multiple pages. So I don't tend to use that. Shuffle question order. This is if you have a quiz and you want to shuffle the questions. What else? You can have a confirmation message. A lot of people forget to edit this. This is after they submit it, a page opens up and just says, thanks for your submission. In this case, I think it automatically just says your response has been recorded, but you can put a personal message in here that just, thanks them for participating. What else? Show a link to submit another response. So you can disable that. See, that's not allowing me because why? Oh, it's on verified. It sometimes limits things depending on what settings you already have selected. Form defaults. So you can default to collect email addresses by default. So you can put the verified there if you want. Is ours verified? I think it is, right? Andrea?
I'm not sure. I think
it shows here and it's asking me to switch my account. So it wants me logged in.
Oh yeah.
So I think
So
it
I have
does.
to take the. Let me see. Because if I have to take the email down there because that would be redundant.
Mm-hmm. Anyways. Okay, so just to recap, that is up at the top. So you've got your settings, your responses. Don't forget to link your Google Sheet here. I believe if you've already started collecting responses and you collect the view in sheets and can make that connection, it will put all the responses in. So I think if you've missed connecting that, it's still fine to do it after you've collected responses. In the one thing also to note, when you connect this Google Sheet, and you have responses coming in here, if for whatever reason you go and manually enter a response in here, it's not a big deal, but it keeps pushing this manual entry down. It doesn't keep it in that one spot, obviously, because the new entries are coming in. So if you ever need to like manually enter a response for something, I would go through the form yourself and submit it just like one of the customers would, just so it's not, I don't know, it drives me nuts if it does that. All right. That was kind of long-winded. I hope that helps you
That's all
guys.
good information. Like there's a lot of features that in the forms that they're kind of like hidden. Especially if you don't use it that often. Every time I go in there, just like brave for. Like where do I find this? Where do I go with this? So
Yeah,
that was good that we have it saved now. At least we can go back and
I know.
our little SOP here.
Right? On how to create them. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it is really easy. And then make sure once you've created something to go in and test it yourself to make sure it works. You can always delete your entry. If you go in where the response tab was, you can delete your entry. You can delete it also in the spreadsheet when you're doing tests and things. So just make sure that it all works before you send it out to people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
I
hope
just
that
have
helps you
a
guys.
question here. Sky
Yeah.
asked if that will, I guess that if that will be useful for contact forms, also like for websites.
Contact forms for websites.
Yeah,
Yes. And you can embed them too. Will I remember where that setting is? I'm not
yeah.
sure.
It's when you share.
When you go to share, yes. Oh, that's a good point. We should cover this part too.
Hmm.
So when you go to
The
share
only
it,
thing, the only thing I would say to when to like not use it, it would be if your form is like connected to your email marketing, for example, right? Like we use Go High Level as a platform. So our we use the contact forms or the sign up forms from there because it already like automatically adds the contact to our contact list. So that would be like just an extra step that you would have to either like manually add them to your email list or um, use Zapier or something. But if it's just a contact form that they want to you to get in touch with them for whatever reason, use contact forms, then yeah, that would be a good one to use
yeah,
because
for
that way you
sure.
have all your information in the spreadsheet and you can just go through.
Hmm. That's right. So once you've created your form, you're going to hit this send button. And in here, so you can send so there's email, there's the link, or the embed code. So I tend to use these last two. You can grab this link and just click copy. There's this option
Hold
to
on, I don't
shorten
think
it.
it's showing. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it wasn't showing my screen? Okay. I'll do that again. So once you're ready to share, click send. And then there's these options to send via email, link, or embed. So I don't tend to use the email one, but I'll use the link. You can shorten the link here, or you can create your own pretty link and then just click copy. The embed code is here, so you can just put a form right on a website. An example, I have one that's like a donation request form that's embedded on a different website, just because we get a lot of requests. So we just created a form and embedded it right on the website. And it gives you the options to do the width and height of that form. And then you can just copy the code there. What else? I guess there's nothing. Is that it? Oh, you can add an editor down here. That's handy. I think that's about it for the forms.
All right, we got one more question. Can you change the form, add a field on the form, and continue to have the spreadsheet updated?
Can you change the form? Spreadsheet. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, right?
Yeah, you can. The thing is, when you add a question, no matter where it is, like on your form, it will add to your spreadsheet automatically, but I think it will go to the end. Like it will be the last column. Even like if it's your second question, like you can alter the order in your form, but then that field will be the last column, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you also, once you have your form and you're collecting info, you don't want to be switching the answers that they're selecting, because I think that messes things up, right? I've had that happen before, I think. Oh, I guess it doesn't really. No, I think it should be fine, right?
Yeah, if, like you're saying, change the check boxes answers. Is that what you're saying? Like
Yeah.
it shouldn't affect it, because whatever they're entering, it will come in as a new response.
Yeah. You just don't want to change it entirely. Like if you're doing a scale of 1 to 5, right? And then if you start changing it 1 to 10, then all the data you did before isn't really like comparable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you needed to make a big change like that, I would almost just copy that form over, make the change, and like start a new spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Because then you're not comparing apples to apples for that information.
That's a good point.
One thing I realized I missed too was, I know I opened this a couple times, but this is where you can customize the theme and change. So this is where we had uploaded the header, but you can change the font styles, the sizes, and even like the color of the, I don't know if you can tell, but the background and everything is changing. Let me change it to something like more drastic, maybe. There we go. So you can customize all of those. And then once you select a color, there's this background section that allows you to like make the background darker or lighter based on the color theme, if that makes sense. You're picking one color and then you can adjust the background from there to make it lighter. Yeah, so the ways to make it pretty are like the colors, adding your header.
Make sure it's like your brand colors. That way they know when they open the form that it is your, they're responding to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it'd be great to have like your logo incorporated up in the header somewhere. Putting your brand colors in. You can always still like insert images too, like we did before in here. Yeah, those are all the different ways to kind of decorate it. So awesome. Hey, so I hope you guys have lots of ideas for how you can use Google Forms and Google Sheets to collect from your customers, whether it's product information, membership feedback, all those different things. And we'd love to hear if you're using Google Forms, if you're getting ready to start doing one yourself. Let us know down below. And if you have any questions. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.